For the first time in 2 decades, a U.S. president faces the threat of impeachment, which in simple terms means Congress may officially charge President Trump with wrongdoing. James Rosen has been investigating the story and has a fascinating look at the controversy over how the origins of it all began.
He will be held accountable. No one is above the law.
It's a witch hunt. It's a disgrace.
At the heart of the impeachment crisis is this 9-page complaint filed by an anonymous whistleblower on August 12th. It accused President Trump of improperly pressuring Ukraine's president for political reasons during a phone call they had in July, though both men have said nothing improper took place.
I think good phone call. It was normal. Nobody pushed me. Yes.
In other words, no pressure.
The White House quickly released the call's official transcript. It shows President Trump did ask Zelensky to look into former Vice President Joe Biden, who's now running for president. Mr. Trump says the request was proper because it was aimed at rooting out corruption, a pervasive problem in Ukraine.
Well, good afternoon.
Allegations of corruption involving Mr. Biden first surfaced last year. He actually boasted that as vice president, he had gotten a Ukrainian prosecutor fired by threatening to withhold $1 billion in U.S. aid.
I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
Mr. Biden insists the prosecutor was corrupt. But it turns out that that prosecutor was reportedly investigating a Ukrainian company whose board of directors included the former vice president's son, Hunter Biden. Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff is chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. He insists President Trump was just looking for dirt on a political rival and using U.S. military aid as leverage to get it, something Schiff charges is an impeachable offense. But there are questions about Schiff's role in the whistleblower complaint. Schiff initially said he first learned about the complaint on September 9th, but did not learn its contents at that time.
We only know some of the facts at this point.
Later, the story changed. Schiff's office confirmed to the New York Times that the whistleblower had in fact outlined his complaint to Schiff's staff before filing it. Congressional sources have confirmed to full measure that the whistleblower was required to disclose his contacts with Congress on the form submitted along with his complaint, but did not. Likewise, Chairman Schiff withheld the contacts from Republicans on the Intelligence Committee, including Ranking Member Devin Nunes.
I mean, most of us feel that we were not only misled, but deliberately lied to. As best as we can put it together, there were multiple conversations between the whistleblower and staff, and then there was at least one, if not more, conversations between the whistleblower and Schiff.
On September 17th, more than a month after the Democrats on Schiff's intelligence panel learned the contents of the complaint, Chairman Schiff made this claim about his staff.
We have not spoken directly with the whistleblower.
2 days later, Schiff told reporters he still did not know the contents of the complaint, something he repeated on television for days to come.
And again, I don't know if this is the subject of the whistleblower complaint.
And we don't at this point know whether the reporting is correct that the complaint involves this call or...
The whistleblower could have come to our committee at any time, but it might mean the whistleblower forfeits the protection against losing his or her job.
And Sharyl, we contacted the office of Chairman Schiff for comment. They never responded.
What do you think is the significance of the whistleblower going to Democrats before, filing the complaint? Is there anything wrong with that?
Not necessarily. It could be one of the standard paths that a whistleblower in this kind of case would follow. But the fact that Chairman Schiff withheld those contacts from the public, from the Republicans on the committee, it adds fuel to claims by Republicans that there is something manufactured about all of this.
Because there would have been nothing wrong necessarily with Schiff admitting or acknowledging this contact.
If all his staff had done, as they originally said, was simply to steer the whistleblower to an appropriate attorney and encourage them to go through a different kind of process.
And it gets complicated, but it's worth reminding, there are accusations that President Trump is interfering politically with things, but Democrats are also interfering with the president and some of the actions they take. So these accusations kind of loop around and
it's a poisonous atmosphere in general.
You've written an acclaimed book about the Watergate scandal, so you know something about impeachment. Any thoughts about where all of this is going?
Right now, the movement in the House of Representatives shows that impeachment is picking up velocity. The House Democrats seem determined to to bring up articles of impeachment and vote them out. The Senate, as presently constituted, is never going to convict President Trump in any kind of impeachment trial. They may move simply to dismiss the indictment, if you will, the impeachment as a matter of course. But this is serious, and I think it will have an impact on the elections. I think there is some growing evidence that Americans are bothered by the whole episode.
Okay. Well, thanks for tracking it for us. Appreciate it, James.
Thank you, Sharyl.